Hi, Tia. Thank you so much for joining me in this podcast episode. Really appreciate it. How are you today?
I am very well. Thank you so much for having me. Feeling pretty good.
Yeah, the pleasure is mine. Like you're different parts of the world. Like I think in Thailand, right?
Yes, absolutely. I'm in Chiang Mai, Thailand.
Yeah, yeah. What did you actually made you like move to from US to Thailand?
It's a long story, but I've had some traumatic experiences within my life, and I've done everything the right way. Go to school, take care of people, make sure everything is okay. But I neglected myself, and I realized that I needed to heal and to do some healing work. I actually wanted to serve others and teach. So coming to Thailand to actually teach, and then that actually led me to coach, advise, and guide people, through healing and how to transform. So
Yeah,
Chiang Mai is where I am.
yeah, that's great. So yeah, we have like interesting topic to discuss on the show, like healing your inner child, and yeah, that'll be like a great topic to discuss about. And obviously, our audience knows like I let my guests choose the topic before we having a discussion. What actually made you like choosing this that topic for like today's discussion?
I hold it so close to my heart. I really truly believe that we neglect our inner child. It could be for a number of reasons. Maybe we don't understand what it is.
Hmm.
Maybe as a child, it wasn't we weren't told that the inner child was important. We didn't have those resources available to understand what it is. So for me to actually heal my inner child, to understand it, to listen to it, to know what it feels like, it's been quite an experience. And as I've learned it, I just want to educate others and create that awareness of what is the inner child, how do you connect with it, how do you nurture it, and how do you heal it.
Yeah. So let's talk about like how does it actually help us in terms of like healing our inner child and because like a lot of people don't know how to figure out what they're actually looking for in their life, the trauma they had in the previously. So with your experience, how do you actually find out about that?
Absolutely. That's a great question. So, for me, the first thing I think is what is the inner child? And there are many technical definitions, but to me, your inner child is just a youthful version of yourself. It doesn't necessarily have to be about age, how old are you, but it's a youthful version of yourself based on energy. What type of things make you feel joyful? What type of things make you smile? So, those are some of the things that will allow you to first you need to understand it and then you're able to connect with it. So as you mentioned, a lot of people they struggle with understanding it and those traumatic experiences that will keep you down and suppress that inner child. So you'll end up doing things that really are not in alignment with who you are, and that's not being true to your inner child. So with my experience, I've done things a certain way within my life, and people would think, "Oh, that's perfect. You have a perfect life." But at the end of the day, for me, I actually suffered from burnout, and I had a nervous breakdown in 2019. So
Yeah.
that nervous breakdown was actually like a course correction. That course correction was my inner child saying, "See me, hear me, feel me," and I could not avoid it at that point. And that's when the healing work really began with me. I had to connect with it at that point.
Yeah. How did you find the inner child? Like you made it like a big move from US to living in a Thailand, right? For looking for your own inner child. How did you actually figure it out? Like how long did it actually take?
Can you say it again one more time?
Yeah, I said like you've been from US and to move to now Thailand for looking for your inner child, and how long actually
Uh-huh.
take to find your inner child?
It's taken a long time, I would say, but 2019 is when I really listened to it and understood it, and I
Mhm.
said, okay, I need to do an inventory of my life. What serves me? What does not serve me? What do I like? I think we as people we need to really identify what we like and what we dislike because that is going to connect us not only to our inner child, but allow us to have that fulfillment within our life. So, understanding our likes, our dislikes, appreciating ourselves, loving ourselves. Those are the things that I've experienced myself that has allowed me to connect with my inner child and nurture and heal her.
Yeah. So explain a little bit about like how to someone can find out like their inner child need a healing or for like they need something to do about it. Like a lot of people not aware of it and they don't know like what's going on to them, right? So how did you
Uh-huh.
actually figure out like be conscious about like I need to heal my inner child and I need to figure something out, I need to make some improvement?
Okay, that's a great question. So I think as children, we need to keep things simple. You know how we keep things simple with children? So we
Yes.
want to keep it very simple. So there are three things that we can do. We need to observe the things within our life and say, okay, what makes me feel joyful? What makes me happy? That's one thing that we can do. If things are just not in alignment, things are haywire, then maybe there's some inner work and some inner child work that you need to do in order to connect with your inner child. We also can pause, take some
Mhm.
time out for you because we're so busy with hustle and bustle that we don't say, hey, who am I? What what keeps me going? What drives me? We don't have time to do that a lot of times. And also, like I mentioned, ask yourself, what do I like? What do I need? Because our inner child was suppressed when we were a child. So we had many unmet wants and needs. So it's up to us to identify those wants and needs and reparent ourselves just as we would with a child. We have to be very gentle with ourselves and have compassion and understanding and patience. So those are just some things that when you're working with your inner child and trying to connect, that we need to be mindful of.
Yeah, yeah. So you've been working with like a lot of individual right now because you are a healer right now. You're doing like a lot of life coaching. So let's say like if someone come to you for like kind of help and they need to find out their inner child and need a healing, like what kind of steps do you take in order to like help them out?
Okay, well, we go to the source. A lot of times it starts in childhood. So we want to identify what are those childhood experiences that you've had in your life that have shaped who you are, have shaped how you show out in the world. Because most of the time, the way that we act within the
Yeah,
world is what we saw within our environments. We want to go to the source, connect it to the source, and then work our way backwards from there.
yeah, yeah. So like a lot of people like going from like lots of trauma, like childhood trauma, they've been through like a lot of abuse, could be like losing their parents, losing their loved
Mhm,
ones, or been through like a hardship, like they came from like a poor background and they have like a kind
mhm,
of mindset, like a negative mindset about money, people, society. So like these kind of things, like a lot of people don't want to share it and they don't want to like be open up and like to never get kind of help like from yourself, like if I coach or someone else in the States and the UK, like a lot of people in the UK doesn't know about what life coach is, how is more familiar in the States. So like those
mhm.
who's like shying away and don't know how to combat about that kind of situation, what would be your advice to finding out help and get someone or talk to someone, right?
Okay, one thing that I'm really big on is self-care and self-love. Just learn how to love yourself, learn how to care for yourself, even if you do not necessarily tap into that inner child, as you're doing that self-care and that self-love, that will allow you to connect with your inner child. So go to the source of yourself, not your representative and who you show to the world, but who you really are and what you really feel on the inside with no type of judgment. Again, going back to children, they don't have any judgment. They just do
Yeah,
as they feel. They don't have that fear. So just try to step into the role of a child. And a lot of times we hold on into that guilt because we're told that we're wrong or we blame ourselves or we're blamed by others. So just try to begin to release that guilt, that pain, and it takes time. It's not something that happens overnight, but those are just little things that we can do in order to do that inner work and that inner child healing.
Yeah, like lot of things like they needed to be healing. Like I remember I lost both of my parents very early, age 13, and that time really didn't understand why this thing happened and didn't know how to control myself. Like I had like a
Mm,
certain suicidal thoughts and etc. So I needed to like improve myself. But that time I had like one of my sister like it always guided me and helped me through that tough times. But right now, when I remember those kind of moments, the advice I would give, like a completely opposite what I would advise, like when I was 13 years old, because that kind of
mm,
situation is the more we grow, like the more we understand and more we adapt on the situation, right? And right now, like
mm,
if I lose someone, and I'm gonna react to different compared to how I used to be reacting to it, because that time, like the first time I'm experiencing death from like some own family members, right? And right now, if someone passes away, it's not going to be affecting compared to how it affected me in the past. Because now I know, like a law of the universe, someone have to die, right? Either like you
mm.
die age 30 or 60 or 80 or 90 or 100, but eventually someone's going to be dying whenever it's time for them, right? And no one can actually stop them. So this kind
Yeah.
of things, like kind from like a childhood trauma or like some kind of we have mechanism in our brain like the belief system like whatever happened in the past we believe in the same thing going to happen over and over again, and that's why we don't take certain action and we don't get to like live fully, and those people doesn't really grieve. Like I spoke to many people and they lost their loved ones and never grieved, right? And they right now they on a kind of situation and they didn't grieve properly and they don't know how to come out of it. So what would you let, like if someone is feeling bad themselves, let them feel bad, right? Don't try to stop it. We try to stop the
Right, right.
emotion and that actually haunt us later down the road. So what would be your
Uh-huh.
advice on that?
Well, yeah, as you mentioned, like allow them to feel what they need to feel, but work on trying to shift that mindset, understand their experience because they are allowed to have those feelings and that experience, but
Mm,
also try to shift that mindset into a more positive outcome for them. And again, it takes time, but little things, there are little things that a person can do that over time, it really makes a difference within their life. And a support system, to have a strong support system, as you mentioned with your sister,
yeah,
just have some type of support system. Also, this day and age, we have social media, YouTube, a video. You know, if you don't really feel comfortable with expressing how you feel, YouTube a video, journal, write down your thoughts and your feelings because a lot of times we get it from our mind to the
right.
paper and that will release a weight off of our shoulders. So those are just a few ways.
Yeah, I remember like when that happened, like I mentioned, like I lost both of my parents when I was 13, and that was in Bangladesh, so not in a first world country. So coming from that kind of environment, you living in a Thailand, you know like how limited
Mhm.
access people has like a computer and internet, right? And they know like a proper tech stuff like in US. And US is like a normal to get life coach or get some kind of help. And if you
Yes.
live in a third world country like in South Asia, and there is
Uh-huh.
also called like a life coach, they probably gonna think you're mental someone, like you gone
Right.
crazy.
Right. Exactly.
Yeah,
Right.
yeah.
Exactly.
So that time I didn't have the access of like getting any help. I didn't know YouTube existed. So if I can search or Google, I
Okay.
didn't know internet existed. So I'm
Right.
kind of like
Uh-huh.
figuring out like, and a
Right.
podcast I only knew in 2019 podcast existed. I knew about radio, but I didn't know like internet radio as such a thing. And
Okay. I understand.
yeah, so a lot of people don't know like how to get kind of like help in that sector. But right now they have, if you're living in the UK, living in Australia, living in the US, you have kind
Uh-huh.
of uh, people like yourself, like a life coach or like someone
Uh-huh.
therapist, and they can help you like finding that kind of inner child and help them, right? If you have the childhood trauma or like a certain things like you need to get help from, probably you're not comfortable talking to your family members or someone. Sometimes like we talk to like a certain family members, they don't really actually care about like the thing you're going through. Probably they're gonna laugh
Yeah.
at you behind your back and not gonna help
Yeah.
you in the situation. And you can't be open up. Certain things you've done in the past or things happen, you not feel comfortable to sharing with them kind of people, right? And you're not gonna
Uh-huh.
get help. So when there is like coach comes in and they can help you and guide you through that. So yeah, like many people are struggling and they can see they listen to this podcast or even they watch you on a YouTube and they'll learn there is so much things available right now. They can listen to podcasts, like listen to your stuff. Some other
Yes.
coaches there out there, some people been through them hardship where they have been through and they can resonate with it and get asked for like help. We oftentimes don't get the help and that's why we've been not getting any kind of stuff right.
Right. Absolutely.
So yeah, Tia, so after like you finding out like your inner child and help your inner child, what kind of difference you seeing yourself? Like you living in a Thailand for quite a long time right now, you healing other people. What kind of changes do you feel on yourself compared to in 2019 when you actually needed the help?
I acknowledge and honor my inner child. So with that boundaries, I am able to establish healthy boundaries. That's something that were non-existent for me. Growing up as a child, you're kind of taught in a child's place. How you feel, it does not matter. What you think, it does not matter. But
Mm,
now I am more expressive, creative expression. That's something also that I've tapped into as far as music and writing. So these are some of the things that my inner child was saying, hey, I want to be expressive. So I listened to it. So I'm able to express myself in that manner, feeling more fulfilled, just
yeah,
more fulfilled in general, just not subscribing to the way that I thought it should be based on my upbringing, society, generational curses, stepping more into my truth and who I am, and still learning it because it's a never ending battle. I learn every day, I change every day, all of us do. So it's just connecting with that.
yeah, definitely. So yeah, Tia, we're coming to end of this podcast. So those who's listening, if someone interested, learn more about your business or learn more about yourself or want to get in touch with you, so where's the best place to find you?
Yes, my website, www.coachwithtr.com. That's coach, CoachWITHTR.com. Yes, I'm here to guide, to assist, reach out. Yes, and thank you.
Yeah, the pleasure was mine. I really appreciate it for your time, and I know you're different parts of the world, and it's evening right now for you. And yeah,
Yes,
and I really appreciate it. So I wish you best of luck with your career, your life as well, and I hope you have a wonderful evening.
thank you. I'm so grateful for you. You take care, okay? Thank
Yeah,
you
thank
so much
you.
for your time. All right.
Thank you. Take care. That's a wrap, guys. Thank you
Bye-bye.
so much for listening to this podcast episode. I really appreciate it. So those who listen, if you enjoyed it and you liked it, Tia's work, and yeah, go check out her stuff. Go visit our website and also find her on social media. And until then, I'll talk to you in the next episode. Thank you.